The White House Fellowship Program, I have to say, just fundamentally changed my professional life in so many different ways.
I'd really refer to the fellowship as one of those sort of life-altering experiences.
I learned a lot about the interagency and how the federal government works, and I think that perspective was valuable. And I also gained a great deal from what we call our fellow fellows. I probably took as much from them as any other part of the program.
Hello, I'm Craig Coy. I'm currently the President and Chief Operating Officer for a company called L3 Communications, and I run the Homeland Security Group here in Washington, D.C. Prior to that, I had just finished Harvard Business School, received my MBA, and prior to that I was a helicopter pilot, engineering officer, having flown in North Bend, Oregon, and Cape Cod.
I'm Tim Atkin, and I work at SRA International. It's a systems integrator consulting company which mostly focuses on the federal government, and I'm a senior vice president and I oversee our global health sector. Prior to the fellowship, I was mostly a ship driver. I had been on the Mallow out of Hawaii, and then I was on the Point Camden out of Long Beach, California. I went back to the academy and I taught ship handling, basically, professional development. And then from there I went to graduate school and I was studying public administration. After that, I actually got a command down in Baltimore on the Redbirch, and it's from there that I went to the fellowship.
Good morning, I'm Commander John Spanner, currently the Deputy Chief of the Coast Guard Office of Budget and Programs. Prior to the fellowship program, I served principally as a pilot. I flew H-60 helicopters at Astoria, Oregon, and I flew C-130s at Clearwater, and I got a master's degree from Purdue University. You, in the program, get matched to a principal, always a cabinet secretary or senior White House official, and you shadow them, you serve as their special assistant, you write their speeches, you attend their meetings, and these are very, very accomplished people.
I was a White House Fellow. In fact, I was the first White House Fellow for the Coast Guard in 1983 and 1984. I was very fortunate. I had a chance to work in the Reagan administration in the Domestic Policy Council during that time.
I was a White House Fellow in 1994-95, and during my assignment I actually worked at the National Security Council at the White House for Richard Clarke, mostly focusing on counterterrorism and global issues.
I was assigned to the White House Office of Homeland Security. At the time, the Homeland Security Advisor was Governor Tom Ridge. It was before we had a Department of Homeland Security, but after 9/11.
The application for the White House Fellowship Program on initial blush was rather daunting. There were some very pointed and questions that most of us don't think about. What is our lifetime ambition? What do we see ourselves contributing to public service? And how do we support voluntary organizations around the places in which we live? And so it was a little daunting at first, but once you spend some time, it's really a good effort to have a little introspective time to think about the things that you want to do with your life and your career.
At first I thought the application was pretty intimidating. It turns out that the difficulty was actually more in just thinking through what it was that I wanted to accomplish. Some of the questions are pretty far-reaching in terms of what you want to accomplish in your lifetime, what you want to accomplish in your career. And once you've really thought through that, the process itself isn't really too difficult. They're fairly short essays. You get a handful of references and put the package together, and I really relied on a lot of good friends to help me think through it, and also to review what I'd written and make sure that that it would make sense to somebody going through the package.
The interviews were fun. You learn a lot about yourself. They're challenging. I was asked a number of questions, some of them very difficult, such as my perspectives on Micronesian naval policy, and frankly I didn't have any at the time, to are you able to perform an interpretive dance at the end of the entire competition, which I wasn't, and I told him that, to some very serious questions about the great issues of the time, from conflict to diplomacy. And if you make the finals and you get to the interview stage, they're going to test and see if you materialize to be what you wrote in your application. It's important that you really be yourself and explain a lot about yourself, both why you're in the Coast Guard and what's important to you outside of the Coast Guard. And the more you can humanize yourself and humanize the Coast Guard, I think the more successful that you'll be.
I would urge all Coast Guard officers to consider being a White House Fellow. One of the things that I've tried to do in my career and life is to take a risk. And I think that if you don't try something and you don't go for something and fail, you don't know how far you can go.
Really actually look at the application process and the interviews is almost like jumping off a cliff. You really have to just believe in what it is that you want to get out of the program, how it fits into your life, and be open about that and transparent about that. The danger I think that I had, especially in my interviews, the first time I made it to interviews at the regional finals, was I tried to give the commissioners answers I thought they wanted to hear. And at the end of the day, they're trying to pick somebody that they know and can trust as a special advisor to a cabinet member or somebody at the White House, and they really want to know who you are and what you think.
I'd say probably the largest benefit is that you get to look at the government through a different set of lenses as a White House fellow. You're looking at it from a different angle, and I think it gives you perspectives that can be valuable in certain situations, and you can really learn how to work effectively in the interagency. And I think to that end, I've been able to provide advice and recommendations on how to navigate through different scenarios in the interagency. I've also grown a great deal. I feel I've grown a great deal as a leader, and feel well equipped to lead in the field in the future.
It's a program that I can't speak highly enough. I would not be in my current position. I would not have done any of the things I've done since then without the White House ship program, and I could highly recommend it for anyone that wants to be involved in government or a leadership program.
Rewarding. On a professional level, I think the fellowship actually gave me a greater deal of confidence about what I could accomplish and what we really gain in the Coast Guard in terms of our ability to function at senior levels in government and beyond government. And I must say that in all the jobs and assignments that I've had since then, I think not only the experience through the fellowship program in terms of how to operate, how to deal with other people, how to network, has really become invaluable. And it's also been the contacts through the fellowship that in some way have played a role in almost every job I've had since.